CTV Calgary, local breaking news.
Good afternoon. It's going to be a treacherous day on Alberta roads today. Downtown Calgary already dealing with strong winds and a lot of snow. Winds are expected to gust up to 80 kilometers an hour. Several warnings have been issued across the province. Drivers are being warned not to travel. Edmonton is expected to get up to 25 centimeters of snow, and winds around Lethbridge could gust up to 130 kilometers an hour. Recall petitions have been issued for 2 more UCP MLAs, including the province's Justice Minister. Calgary Cross MLA Mickey Amery is the latest MLA to have a recall petition against him. The applicant behind the petition says Amery has been unresponsive to his constituents and claims his stances represent UCP policy decisions as opposed to those of his constituents. In response, Amery says he will continue to stand up for Calgary Cross and says the Recall Act should not be misused by partisan activists. Fort Saskatchewan-Vegreville's Jackie Armstrong-Homenek is the other MLA. There are now 23 recall petitions, with 22 affecting UCP MLAs. A fire at a downtown Calgary restaurant is now out after crews spent hours dealing with heavy smoke. The fire broke out early this morning at Salt and Brick on 10th Avenue, prompting road closures between 1st and 2nd Streets southwest. Firefighters were called just after 5 a.m., finding only a small amount of flames, but a significant amount of smoke inside the building. No one was inside at the time and no injuries were reported. Crews say the fire was likely smoldering near the back of the restaurant, with access to some areas making it harder to put out.
One of the challenges they reported was just accessing different areas. Sometimes what we see is anytime businesses have renovations or changes over time or older buildings, there just could be some less accessible spaces. So we're just being very thorough to make sure we access all those areas and ensure the fire is completely extinguished.
Fire crews remained on scene for several hours, checking for hot spots. 10th Avenue has since reopened. And firefighters dealt with a garage on fire overnight in Coventry Hills. The fire started around 7:30 last night along Cove Park Drive northeast. Crews were able to stop the fire before it engulfed the building, but there is significant damage to the attached garage. A man in his 40s is dead after a collision last night in the southeast. Police say it happened on Glenmore Trail just west of Deerfoot around 9 p.m. A westbound SUV slammed into the back of a Jeep before hitting a barrier twice and rolling over. Police believe the man who was killed was not wearing a seatbelt. Speed and alcohol impairment are also considered factors. This is the 36th fatal collision in Calgary this year. A boarded-up backcountry lodge in Yoho National Park, which once attracted guests from around the world, is expected to reopen. Parks Canada has just chosen a new operator for the Twin Falls Chalet. Here's Alicia Fielberg.
A 9-kilometer hike in Yoho National Park leads you to this National Historic Site, which has been boarded up for 5 years, but now has a new operator and is expected to reopen for tourism.
The Twin Falls is a beautiful little spot. Absolutely excited to be a part of its future.
Canadian Pacific Railway built Twin Falls Chalet in 1908 as a hiking destination for rail travelers. Parks Canada owns it but leases it to operators for a cut of the profits. Since 1962, Fran Drummond had been running it as a tea house, cooking meals and hosting overnight guests with no electricity or plumbing. She was revered for her passion and dedication, but Parks said she was no longer meeting the terms of the agreement, so ended it in 2019.
She's a very important part of the history of the park and history of the tea house. We got to a point where she was no longer able to continue and meet the requirements of a license of occupation. And that's when we transitioned to seeking a new operator.
Parks wanted it to continue operating as a tea house, but the new group chosen to run it realized that wouldn't be feasible.
Foot traffic is around 50 people per day, which does not provide enough opportunity or traffic for enough revenue to operate it.
Instead, Alpine Club of Canada is now preparing to offer it to visitors as a hut. That means no staff and guests bring their own food and bedding.
You need to collect your water and treat it to make sure you can drink it. You prepare your own food, and everyone helps clean and take care of the facility.
The club also plans to install solar power and find a way to commemorate the chalet's history.
Have the opportunity to not only experience the wilderness, experience the nature, but at the same time, walk into a piece of Canadian history. That is the type of experience that we know a lot of visitors really cherish.
Alpine Club of Canada operates 2 other National Historic Sites in Yoho National Park and says since Twin Falls sits between them, it will give guests a unique opportunity.
It's going to create our first hut-to-hut traverse experience.
The goal is to open for guests in August of 2027. Alicia Fieldberg, CTV News, Calgary.
Calgary police are cramming a cruiser full of toys and essentials today in support of the Alberta Children's Hospital. They're collecting new unwrapped items, including small containers of Play-Doh, small packs of crayons, plastic silicone rattles and balls, mini toiletries, and unscented baby wipes. You can donate between 2 and 8 p.m. at the Walmart at Sage Hill Gate in the Northwest. Thank you for joining us. We'll have more on the top stories coming up on CTV News at 5 and 6 or anytime online at ctvnewscalgary.ca.